4 straight years, the winner was the #1 strokes gained tee to green guy on that course. So yes, you got to putt it. If you can gain strokes by just staying out of the water hazards, hitting fairways and hitting greens, you're going to win here.
Jake Knapp is your winner, and he will be playing this week to see if he can go back-to-back. Welcome to Tea Time, everyone. I am Andy Lang from WagerTalk.com, being joined as always by Nick Borman from WagerTalk.com. We are going to the PGA National Champions course here, and Nick, this is a different course. Put your big boy pants on. This course is no gimme. I don't think you're going to be seeing low scores like that. So, takeaway from Jake Knapp, another long shot here that we have winning. These guys just keep hitting at these really, really big prices. Any takeaways from what we saw from last tournament?
Well, Jake Knapp was, I ended up previewing him during our show, Andy, as a top 20 finish. I normally always bet those on the outright market too. I, for whatever reason, chose not to this week. So I am kicking myself right now that I did not. But he was, he was kind of, in my eyes anyway, you kind of saw him coming because he was coming up, through the Korn Ferry Tour. And he was playing very, very well. And he was actually only 40-1. So he's actually, believe it or not, Jake Knapp is our shortest outright winner this year. So at 40-1, but just saying that name being the shortest one, it's not the price, it's just his name at 40-1 being the shortest is pretty surprising. But no, I mean, the tournament, it was a watered down field. So it was not surprising to see some of those names contend. Finau, as you kind of previewed, was not, he was going to be there at the end because it's a weak field, but he was never really in contention. So you were right on the money there. But overall, I think the tournament was okay. It was a good filler. I guess this week, as you said, it's a much more difficult course, which I'm looking to kind of get into and breaking down because I like these kind of tournaments. But overall takeaway was, tournament was good. Jake Knapp, I wasn't too surprised by the win. Kicking myself, I didn't bet him, but no real surprises throughout. How about you?
You're right, 40-1. Normally that's a long shot, not this year. So yeah, I use the term long shot. I guess probably not a long shot. Honestly, my takeaways is I think we are seeing the full effects of the live golfers not being there. It just feels like there's just fewer and fewer names that we are familiar with, and I also think we're seeing the effect of these non-elevated events. It just feels like some of these bigger names that we're used to being at the top of the leaderboard aren't really trying or they don't care. But this season there's a lot of, there's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of uncertainty. I just watched Rory McIlroy and Max Homa play a charity thing last night with, Lexi Thompson and Rose, which was entertaining. But is Rory focused on this tournament this week? This is a very, very strange year of golf, Nick. I find myself treading very lightly with the betting markets because there's just a lot of strange finishes. We both liked Hogard last week. He couldn't even crack the top 40 despite being in good form and in a weak field. Tony Finau wasn't great. So, we just have to make sure we're minding our P's and Q's with some of these bets. Let's get into it with the course here. And this is going to be, probably the toughest course they've played so far this year. There's a lot of bogeys that are just staring players in the eye. And leading up into this event, I would say most of the courses, got to be aggressive, got to go for the birdies. You got to take some chances. This is going to be sometimes par is good enough to win and squeak out your pars. Wind can be a pretty big factor at this course. Even if it's not in the forecast, it's just there. It looks like as of now, we're recording this Tuesday morning. The strongest winds look to be on Friday. As we know, that can change. So I don't want to say, Friday is going to be the windiest day. A lot of bunkers. There's a lot of water hazards. There's only 3 par 5s. So there's just not a lot of birdies available. And of course, the famous bear trap is here. So we'll go over these 3 holes. We'll start with the 15th. It's a par 3, 177 yards. And, it's just so crazy. When you look at these holes on paper, they don't seem that hard. And yet they're, legendary and they always trip guys up. So hole 15, par 3, 177. You can see on the photos here, you got that bunker off to the left. You've got water off to the right. There have been instances where players have been in the bunker, they come out of the bunker right into the water. And we've seen it a few times. It'll probably happen at least once this tournament. We see it every time. So that is the 15th hole. That gets the bear trap started. Then we move on to the 16th hole. This is a par 4. Again, not terribly long, but you have to hit the ball in the fairway. I read a quote from Adam Scott that said, if you're in one of these bunkers in the fairway, you're in the rough. This just makes this hole almost impossible to squeak out a par. So the drive is of utmost importance. Again, you've got an iron 170, 180 yards coming in. And as you can see there, bunker on the left, bunker on the right. Really bad shots off to the right will end up in the water. A lot of contours on that green. And even though it's only 441 yards, just there's some big numbers out there. And then, of course, 17, we go back to another par 3. And it's not the longest in the world. It's 190 yards ish. And when you're looking at the 17th hole, again, you've got bunker, you've got water, and if you walk out of the bear trap par, you're just going to be really, really happy. So if anybody plays the bear trap par this week, I'm pretty sure they're going to be pretty close to in the top 10 or so. So it's going to be interesting to watch the course management. Some of the holes are pretty long, but you got to be accurate. You got to be able to navigate the wind, and you got to be able to just take your pars and avoid the huge numbers. We saw some guys get tripped up with some monster numbers the last couple weeks, and if you do that here, especially on Thursday or Friday, you're going to be in danger of missing the cut. So course management is key. Nick, interested in your take. What are some stats and some characteristics in golfers that you like for this tournament?
Yeah, a couple notes more on the course tournament this week. That stretch you mentioned, the Bear Trap, Andy. So not a new tournament, just a new name this week, right? Formerly the Honda Classic. So there's been 17 editions of this event at PGA National. That 3-hole stretch, the Bear Trap, has averaged over par in every single one. So that proves right there that is a very tough three-hole stretch. And listen, par threes in general, they don't get enough fanfare. They, in relation to par, they are the hardest holes generally in any tournament. So you got 2 of them in a 3-hole stretch. So it makes a lot of sense there. This is a ball striker's paradise. Having a hot putter obviously always matters. We always talk about having the hot putter and who's rolling it well. And when you got 2 guys that are playing tee to green very similar, the hot putter is going to end up being the difference maker. But very interesting to note that you mentioned how hard this is to par. So 8 of the last 11 tournaments here, if you got to 10 under par, you won this tournament. So it just tells you right there that this is normally a single digit. Occasionally it gets over 10, but it hasn't been much. So it's a very difficult, but it's ball strikers, right? You can see all the water. 15 of 18 holes have water that realistically comes into play. Over the last 6 years, the winner has ranked no worse, than 5th in strokes gained tee to green during that week. And in fact, from 2018 to 2021, 4 straight years, the winner was the number 1 strokes gained tee to green guy on that course. So yes, you got to putt it, but really you just got to avoid trouble around here. And if you can gain strokes by just staying out of the water hazards, hitting fairways and hitting greens, you're going to win here. So I'm just throwing it out there because it's obviously ball striking is always important, but this week more than anything, if Scotty Scheffler was playing, maybe the putter wouldn't matter this week, right? Because it's so important to get around the course. He is not. But pay attention to strokes gained tee to green over the last 3 months, 6 months. See who's doing well there, especially on approach. You get a lot of big numbers if you're missing some of these greens. So those are my extra notes for you. And yes, the weather, you're right on the money right now, Friday. The highest winds. So as of now, perhaps there will be a slight tee time draw advantage. But I don't really know the timing of the wind on Wednesday, if it's morning or afternoon, or if it's pretty much the same all day. So you could wait a little bit, wait until Wednesday night and kind of look at the weather to get an idea of that.
I always just plan on that wind is just going to be a factor at this course. It's just so wide open. Like even if it's not in the forecast directly, it just there's nothing blocking the wind here. So even the slightest wind that's coming through is going to have an impact on players. So it's strange. I would say that the wind, I pay attention to it, but even though there is wind, I wouldn't say that I give certain players an advantage because I think it just kind of affects everybody here, regardless of what we're seeing. I mean, you've seen it where it's like, well, it's 10 miles an hour, and then you see guys standing up on the tee, and you're like, their shirt is blowing. That's not 10 miles an hour. And it's, it's just kind of one of those. So yeah, wind is going to be an issue here. Guys, if you're enjoying the gambling content, please hit the like button. Leave us a comment and tell us what your best bet is and who you like this week. Great comments in the comment section last week. So I did not see any Jake Knapp predictions in the comment section, but some really good ones. Let us know what you're liking for this week. So hit the like button if you haven't subscribed. Go and subscribe now. We've got great breakdowns on individual college basketball, NBA games. Of course, Tea Time is here every week to get you ready for the golf tournaments. So go ahead and hit the like button and leave us a comment. Nick, we always like to look at total strokes gained over the last 12 months, 6 months, and 3 months. Interesting names here. I would say that the last 12 months really jump off the board because I'm not sure if that's really indicative of how they're playing right this moment. So what do you make of this total strokes gained graphic for this week?
Yeah, I mean, listen, this has been my Bible for picking outright winners because it's over 50% of them over the last now 2.5 seasons have been inside this top 10. But as you mentioned at the top of the show, maybe things are changing. Maybe it's time to really look at what matters. Maybe the 12-month window isn't what's important anymore. Maybe 6 months or 3 months is more important. I don't know. It's a short sample size, but we are over so far this season on a winner coming from this top 10. But I'll go down the list as it is. No surprise who's on top. Rory, of course, head and shoulders above the rest of this field as far as pure talent, but he's not in great form right now. He was killing it in the DP World Tour in Europe and in the Saudis, but since he kind of came back to the States, he has not really been playing well. Then you got a lot of kind of names you're going to know that have been playing pretty well and are bettable numbers. Henley leads the way. He's a past champion here, and so is McIlroy. Fitzpatrick. Eric Cole, who we've been riding for feels like a good solid year now. He finished runner-up here last year, lost to Chris Kirk in that playoff, so obviously likes this place. Postman, we've bet him quite a bit, so there's a lot of names here that seem to be repeating. Tom Kim, you've talked about him. He's a fade for you, I know, because his putter hasn't been cooperating with him. And then, another guy I've been playing a little bit is Ben On. He's down there number 10 on this list, playing very well at the moment, has some good history, albeit it was like 5 or 6 years ago. At this tournament. And then the FedEx Cup leader is down here in the notable section, Andy, Matthew Pavon, FedEx Cup leader, who, yes, there he is. He is playing lights out right now, so he's deserving of that spot. But that's your top 10 strokes gained over 12 months. You can see the trends, of course. I marked those in the next 2 columns, this last 6 months and last 3 months. So a guy like Poston has been great over 12 months, but has been even better, in fact, the number one in the short term, and then a guy like right below him, Sung Jae right below him in 12 months, but has going the opposite direction in the shorter term. So it's important to see the trends and follow along that. And Pavon, as I mentioned, he is scorching hot as well. So I'm liking a few guys in this, but I'm not going to stick to everything as we have proven so far this season. Don't throw all your eggs in this basket because clearly it has not been the recipe for outright winners, that is.
Absolutely great work on the total strokes gained. Now let's take a look at some players that we might want to avoid. This is a segment called Players That Can Trip You Up. I take a look at 3 golfers that I think a lot of people will be betting on this week. I'm here to warn you, be a little bit careful. Nick, we have a theory where we fade the random winner, and this is one of the best weeks for fading the random winner I have seen in a long, long time. I mean, Jake Knapp is the ultimate fade this week. Listen, hey, did you know he was a bouncer, Nick? They only mentioned it 700 times on Sunday. So he was a bouncer not long ago. Yes, I didn't know if you knew that or not. Listen, he's a PGA Tour winner now. An amazing story. So happy for him. But listen, you've peaked for this season. You got the win. You had a 3rd place at the Farmers, 28th at the Phoenix Open, and now a win. This course is so much more difficult than those courses that he played on, and he's not that accurate off the tee when you look at his numbers. This is such a classic letdown spot. It's a tough course. He's never played here. Listen, there's going to be some partying this week for sure for him. So he played great last week. He played great a couple weeks before. I know you were on him as well, Nick, but this course, I just do not think it suits well, especially after coming off like his lifelong achievement of winning on the PGA Tour. So Jake Knapp, easy fade for me. I'll be looking to go against him in head-to-head matchups. I would even take a sprinkle on him to miss the cut. That's how down I am on him this week. So I if ever there was a PGA tournament he's not really that interested in, it's probably this one. So up next, Rory McIlroy. Listen, Nick, what could go wrong with Rory McIlroy being the number one betting favorite? What could possibly go wrong? Well, quite a bit. He's not been that good in his last two events on the PGA Tour, 66th and 24th. And you showed that total strokes gained chart, and it's a little bit tricky because he has a win and a runner up. That's on the DP Tour. So in his two events on the PGA Tour, minus 0.52 total strokes gained approach, minus 0.43 around the green, minus 0.03 putting. Not very good stats coming into this course. He hasn't played here in 6 years. He even talked about it at the match where he talked about not playing here in a long time. When he did play here, 59th miscut and miscut. I know that was a long time ago, but I just can't believe there's a lot of confidence with Rory McIlroy. And at the top billing, the top favorite this week, no chance. I saw some head-to-head matchups where he was minus 200. No, thank you. No way will I be betting on Rory McIlroy at some of those prices. Last player is Chris Kirk. He has a win this season, and he won this tournament last year. So I'm sure he's going to be a popular pick. I'm going to stay away from him. After his win at the first event of the year, he finished 18th at the other tournament in Hawaii, and then 47th, 26th, and miscut. Even with the win, he's minus 0.10 strokes gained putting the last 3 months. He's not that long off the tee. He's priced as a top 12 golfer this week, and I just think that is way too steep for me. I'm going to be looking elsewhere in DFS and other wagers. And I know, wow, defending champ. Wow, he's got a win this year. I don't know. It just doesn't match the eye test for me. I know it's a little bit of a weaker field, but I will be not betting on Chris Kirk this week. So Jake Knapp, Rory McIlroy, Chris Kirk, 3 players that I think can trip you up this week. Nick, let's get into an outright pick. Before we do that, tell everyone what you have up at wagertalk.com and where we can find you at.
First, it always makes me feel good to know that none of my players I have on my card are any of the players that you've chosen to trip you up, because usually you are right on the money with that. So that always makes me feel good. Right now, this week's tournament pack is on my page at wagertalk.com. $29 gets you all the plays for the week. Its outright card is fully loaded right now, and I'll be adding another leaderboard or 2 bet throughout the week. So that is available right now, $29. And MLS season just kicked off this past weekend. So long season ahead all the way through the beginning of December. So you can get the entire season package for $2.99, 5 straight winning seasons plus 60 units just last year alone. So hoping to keep that rolling into a new season, and that is available right now on my page as well.
Awesome. Let's take a look at an outright winner. Who are you looking at? What price do we have on him?
All right, so this one is the visor, as I like to call him, and that is Keith Mitchell. Probably, listen, I'm going to throw out something that I normally avoid right away, is that I don't like to bet on past champions, as I believe their true odds, in subsequent years are never going to be truly reflected on where they should be. They're always going to be a little bit skewed lower because people are going to look and go, oh, they won here before. They can win again. But I do like him for a couple of reasons. He's playing well at the moment. He hit a top 10 at the American Express, back-to-back top 20s at the Waste Management Phoenix Open, and then last week at the Mexico Open, where his ball striking was very good. He hits the ball a mile, always helps, but add in his approach play, and Mitchell ranks 14th in this field in strokes gained tee to green over the last 6 months, and number 2, Andy, in this field over the last 3 months, behind only Rory McIlroy. So solid company there. Mitchell generally putts his best, if you look back at his results, putts his best on Bermuda grass greens, and especially here where he's gained strokes in all 5 years he's played. It includes that previously mentioned win in 2019, and he also had a top 10 in his last start here in 2022. So if he can combine his current hot ball striking with his comfortability on the greens, because listen, when you're comfortable on greens, you tend to continue to be comfortable there year after year. So if he can ride that putter like he has and combine it with the ball striking he currently has, that could spell trouble for the rest of the field and keep him in the mix on Sunday. And that's what I'm hoping for. Right now, he's 40-1 to get the outright ticket. And that was the winner, the price of the winner last week. I'm hoping we can double dip and get that same number this week.
Love it. Keith Mitchell at a really juicy, tasty price for the outright winner. You can grab Nick's plays over at wagertalk.com. I've got one golf best bet up. That's all I need to turn a profit this week. I love this play. My play, it's more about fading someone. And man, did I get a great matchup. So you can grab that at wagertalk.com. Having a really nice golf year. We had a cross-sport parlay involving Hogard last week. That was our only golf play. But this week, I'm loving the matchups a lot more, loving some of the prices, loving this course as we got really good course history. And I think we got some good spots. So it should be a great golf betting week. You can grab that best bet at wagertalk.com. Let's take a look at Draftkings Darlings. This has been a good segment this year. I've been doing well in Draftkings. So we like to take a look at some of the lower priced DraftKings players, put them in a lineup, and we have an article that is up every week at my profile page, Andy Lang at wagertalk.com. It's free, digital download. It's got my full DraftKings lineup, but we go over 3 guys that I think you can put in your lineup. And I will start with a criminally underpriced Dylan Wu at 6,100. He played really solid golf last week. He finished 24th, and Nick, he loves playing here. Played here twice, and it was both of the last 2 years. He finished 30th in 2022 and 10th in 2023. We saw last week, course history, there are some guys that just play well on certain courses. For whatever reason, Cameron Champ loves playing at the Mexico Open. Dylan Wu likes playing at this one. So he's got pretty good numbers for this year, but I love his course history here. 30th and 10th the last 2 years at 6,100 is a bargain, in my opinion. So I'll start my lineup with him. I'll move on to Ben Griffin at 6,800. He's been good this season. Made the cut in 5 out of 6 events. And last year, first year that he's played here, performed well, finished 21st. If we get him through to the weekend and he flirts with that top 20 again, we will have a steal in Ben Griffin at 6,800. And then when I'm doing DraftKings Darlings, you guys know the lower price guys, you just need them to try and get to the weekend. You get them through to the weekend, you're in good shape. And Mark Hubbard at 7,500, 6 tournaments this season, made the cut in all of them. So you're pretty much been getting guaranteed points on the weekend from Mark Hubbard. He's in good form, and we have good course history here. He's made the cut 4 years in a row. He's finished 11th, 46th, 15th, and 42nd. So 7,500, I get a guy that consistently has made the cut in every event this year, and he's played well here the last 4 years. So Dylan Wu at 6,100, Ben Griffin at 6,800, and Mark Hubbard at 7,500 are this week's DraftKings Darlings. Again, full lineup is on my digital download over at wagertalk.com. All right, Nick, we've got a finishing position. Listen, you gave out a finishing position last week. The guy ended up winning the tournament. So let's see if we can do it again here. What do you like here for your finishing position?
Yeah, my breakdown on Knapp last week was I don't think he's quite ready to win, but I think he can contend a little bit. That was wrong for the wrong reasons. This week, I already mentioned him before. I alluded to who I'm looking at here, and that is the FedEx Cup leader, Matthew Pavon. You can get at 2-1 right now for a top 20 finish. Just to say that he's a FedEx Cup leader is really remarkable, but he's been scorching hot. He won his first PGA Tour event at the Farmers Insurance Open last month. This is his first year as a full-time member. That was on the heels of his first win on the DP World Tour in October, where he's been a member for the last 7 years. So it's taken a while, but clearly, he's figured out how to get over that finish line, and then he backed it up, which is very surprising, quickly with another win. We usually see, as you mentioned, Andy, people fade off for a while after that. So good for him. It proves that he right now knows how to close and is confident in his ability to close. Since the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship, that's an event on the DP World Tour in October, he's played 11 events. He's finished inside the top 15 8 times, including those 2 wins. During that time, he ranks a respectable 18th in strokes gained tee to green. I mentioned that would be an important metric to look at this week. And he's number 2 in putting, behind only Aaron Baddeley. Blast from the past there. But Pavon, he hasn't played here before. Obviously, it's his first year on tour. However, that didn't stop him from winning at Torrey Pines. So I'm just going to ride the hottest hand in the field, hope the course history doesn't hurt him too much. But I think even with just how well he's playing, he could be up in the mix and get in that first or second page of the leaderboard. 2-1 on him right now for as good as he's playing. I just think it's really, really good value.
That's such a great price. All right, Pavon or Rory McIlroy head-to-head matchup, even money. Who are you taking this week? I'm serious.
Even money?
That's a serious even money. It's just split down the middle. You get even money on either.
I think principal, you have to go with
It's
Rory
a
at even money.
decision.
There's no. Yeah, well, I know I would normally not have to think about it, but I think just based on principle, you have to go with Rory at even money. I know I would never see that, right? It would be probably what you said, minus 200 or higher, and then you would definitely go Pavon. But even money, I think you have to go Rory. I don't like it. I don't have to be happy about it.
Principles are for middle schools, Nick. This is a gambling show. The point being 2-1 on Pavon to finish in the top 20 is an insanely good price. That was the point I was making. Yep. A guy like that's playing so good, 2-1 to finish in the top 20 is great as well. So, Nick, one more time, tell everyone what you have up at wagertalk.com.
Yeah, any of this week's tournament pack, $29. Get all outright and leaderboard bets, and that's available right now, obviously through tee off on Thursday morning. And then MLS just kicked off last weekend. Rest of the full season, so you didn't miss much. It goes all the way through December. And that's $299, 5 straight winning years, 60 units last year, going for 6 in a row. So that is available on my page right now as well.
We got a 5% UFC play that is up for this weekend. So obviously golf best bet is big, but UFC, we cashed 5% on the UFC last weekend. That's 2 big bets in a row that we've hit. So we're seeing that sport really, really well. So if you're looking to pad the bankroll, I encourage everyone to grab that over at wagertalk.com. Golf best bet, as well as 5% UFC. Also, Formula One starts this weekend. I could not be more excited about that. Never had a losing season in auto racing or golf at Wager Talk. So looking forward to this weekend. Thanks, everyone, for joining us again. Hit the like button. Leave us a comment. Tell us who you like this week. Good luck on all your plays, and we will see you over next week on Tee Time.